So, yesterday, How to Film Weddings almost ended. Like, it was almost done. Over a stupid YouTube thumbnail. John made this video. We just released our new awesome LUTs with Gamut, and they're incredible and all that. And John, he recorded a video tutorial on walking through it. And I was like, I'll make the thumbnail. That's normally my lane, what I do. And John drew me a stupid stick figure.
Like, I'll send it. Blake, put it on the screen. Like, you gotta put it on the screen.
Maybe that's the photo for this week's episode is just that. But he drew this. He drew this stick figure thumbnail and sent it to me at like 7:30 in the morning. I was like, okay. I took my kid to school. I came home and I started working on it. And I probably spent a good 30, 45 minutes on this thing. And I sent it to John. I was like, what do you guys think? And he goes, honestly, it's not very good. And then he proceeded to continue, like a 5-year-old, send me stick figures of what he wanted it to look like. And I had to like get up from my desk and walk away. Like, I was so mad. And I realized that this had more to do with me than it did with him. Like, John was just like, it needs to be better. We need to make it better. This isn't good enough. But the fact that he was like, honestly, it's not very good. And then stick figures. Yeah, he was. Like a good person, you know, like, hey, let's not beat around the bush. Let's work on this. But then he kept on sending me these stupid stick figures that I was like, I'm not 5. Like, I'm not 5.
Yeah, there was a group text with me and Nick and Blake. And so to put it into perspective, we put out these new LUTs. I have put a lot of work personally into getting these LUTs ready. Like, Kaylin helped make them for, you know, a John Bunn Films kind of look. And so that meant I went through all my footage from the last 2 years, clip by clip, finding my favorite clips and color grading them and sending them to Kaylin, and Kaylin sent them back. And then he was like, hey, next time shoot a little brighter on this and do this, try these, whatever. I have no less than 30 hours of time into getting these LUTs ready. Then I had the bright idea of being like, I should color grade some films on YouTube for like these LUTs so people can see how I color grade. Only problem with that is that it was very difficult to teach people how to color grade. I mean, and also to get it into a format where people can easily understand it. So I was like, guys, I need some help. And I was like, I'll take a stab at it. And like
my favorite thing as I called John and he's recording this tutorial, he's like, well, I'm 90 minutes into a 15-minute tutorial. Like, it was, like this last week with just creating this video, there was so much.
Like, we wanted to get it out, and we had Calibrate the week before, and like between sessions, I was still editing clips, and like it was just, Kaylin was needing things from me. And so anyway, I go to make this video on Tuesday. I try to be done by 5, and it's like 5:20, 5:30, and I'm just like, I quit. I'm done for the day. This video sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to color grade. I am hot garbage. And I was like, guys, I got to just do this tomorrow. And then I was like, Blake, can you help me with this? Can you like be live on Zoom with me so I'm not making an idiot of myself? I don't want haters to hate. I just want to show people how I color grade. And I was like, what points should I hit? And he's like, you should talk about sequence settings and this. I was like, I don't know any of this stuff. I'm a fraud. And so I go again for round 2 and I go film. And it took me 4 takes to do it right. And halfway through the first 3, I just stopped and I'm like, Blake, this sucks. I got to start over. And Blake never saw any of these because I never uploaded them. But finally got the 4th one done, got it to Blake. And it was like Tuesday, and he had it ready, or it was Wednesday. And like, anyway, we're making all these changes back and forth. And I have, again, from my perspective, I helped build the LUTs. I helped to record the thing. It took 2 hours. And then I wrote the content for the email that was going to go out. And all I needed help with was a stupid freaking thumbnail. And I was like, I know what I want it to do. Here's what I want it to do. And I'm really bad about beating around the bush. And I've been working on this. And I just was like, I'm going to say exactly what I want. I hate saying what I want, but this is what I want. And then I'll let you guys talk because, you know.
And so I took what he wanted, but I did it my own. Like I incorporated his things, but I also incorporated my own things. And he's like, it's not very good. And then he sends this photo. I'm getting mad. And Blake is like dying laughing because he thought it was so funny.
It's great because what makes Out of Home Weddings great is everybody's good at certain things and not good at certain things, and we pick up for each other's slack and the things that we're not good at. I am not good at graphic design. Like, that is just not one of my strengths. Like, the GIF that says graphic design is my passion with like in Microsoft Paint is the kind of stuff I make. If you ever see anything from How to Film Weddings and you're like, oh, that doesn't look great, I probably made it. Nick, on the other hand, and Austin, very talented graphic designers. And so we go back and forth on these. And so there's always this balance, right? Of like, what's going to trend well on YouTube and what's going to be clickable versus what's going to look really, really good. So like we all saw what John wanted in this drawing. Like we knew what it was and we could understand the vision. We just could not make it look the way that we wanted it to look. No one liked it. I kid you not, we went 7, 8 versions. I think the version that ended up being the thumbnail is V8 of the thumbnail.
What's funny is if we would have just uploaded that picture I drew, I think it would have got more clicks. I'm just going to be honest.
It probably would have. We should go back and A/B test it and see which one works better.
So
then you get to draw them all.
Anywho, we got the video out. It's up. You can watch it. And we're here to record a podcast today. We're trying something new. Just sharing a little of behind the scenes of How to Film Weddings. But we were just looking at where How to Film Weddings is. We're coming into the fall season, and it's like ending the full fifth year, right, of doing How to Film Weddings. In October, we'll hit our 5-year mark of podcasts.
It was like October 12th or 13th. I remember it like that.
Of 2018. And so we're finishing up our 5th year, and it was just me and Nick, and I kind of wanted to just walk through and talk through just a little bit. I don't know, not necessarily like the whole story. We've done that a couple times, but we had this idea for How to Film Weddings. We started it in March of 2018. Tried doing YouTube videos. Summer got busy. Nick was going to hire me for a mentor session, and I said, let's just record it as a podcast. And we found that real fast to be like, ooh, this is something we can do. And like, it really just took off. 2018 into 19, we just really started growing, got to speak at some workshops, got to get sponsored, digital products. 2020, we started selling our course. 2021, our mastermind started, and it just grown into this thing that was like we were trying it out to becoming our full-time jobs. We brought Blake on part-time, and he's been doing multiple days a week with us, and we've got Austin and Jessica now, and it's like a lot of people don't know just what we are or what we really stand for. And to be honest, I think over the past 5 years, I've really, and Nick has really, and Blake has really honed in on the purpose of How to Film Weddings and why it exists. And we just kind of want to talk today just about where we are and where we're going and who we want to serve and why we want to serve them. Mainly just to pump up the How to Film Weddings community of where and what we're doing this for. Because ultimately, we get paid to do it. But if this didn't have impact, I don't think any of us would be in on this. And I think all of us on our team are very impact driven. And so, that's what matters. Like, obviously we want to get paid, but knowing that we have those conversations with people where they're like, I remember talking to Salt and Pine Films a couple weeks ago when we were in Denver, and, Paola just walked up to me and said, I just need you to know, I quit my job. I'm full-time. My husband's full-time. We're both full-time doing this. We have 35 weddings this year, and we're starting at $8,500. And I wouldn't have been there without you guys. And I'm just like, holy crap, you're making more than I make shooting weddings now. Good job. Like you're making 300, 400 grand. You quit your jobs. You're living in financial freedom. Like, that's the kind of stuff that really matters. So anyway, I just wanted to open it up to you guys, opening statements, thoughts about like what How to Film Weddings means to you, what matters to you. And then we'll go in from there. Nick, you want to start?
Yeah. So, as you know, I've shared on the podcast before that How to Film Weddings just kind of fit in a place in my life where, I think I needed it. I was a youth pastor for 11 years, and then I left that job, and I was really enjoying doing wedding video, but I missed the teaching, the educating, the being in front and speak. Like I missed that part of the ministry job. And How to Film Weddings, it kind of it was too coincidental to be coincidence. And my, is a person of faith, it happened, and, I'm going to say it was a God thing, that it just kind of all came together and all happened that way. And it really filled a hole that leaving that ministry job left behind. And, one of the things that I loved was connecting with people and sharing with them and helping them grow and all that stuff. And so just being able to do that has been so incredible and has been really cool. And it's not something that I take for granted or I take lightly. We were actually on our friend Sam Jacobson's podcast. We recorded it. Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And, he was talking about kind of the journey of doing, some of the stuff working with him. And I said, everyone everywhere can. It's easy to hire and get a mentor session. It's easy to watch a YouTube video. It's easy to kind of get some content and learn from it. What's not easy is the following through, is the action with it. And I think one of the things that I have learned about doing How to Film Weddings is taking action is so much more important than being perfect at it. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Like, we could have everything all mapped out, but if we don't do anything with it, then nothing's going to happen. And I think as we've been going over the last few years, we've presented stuff, how we talked about, maybe we should have rethought about how we did that, or maybe those things. But we're moving forward, and that's the thing. That's the direction. I think a lot of people think that educators or people that have a public face, like, they're more than human. Like, they don't make mistakes, or they have it all together, or they have it all figured out. And if you heard our conversation at the start of this about a stupid thumbnail, we obviously don't, but we're taking steps and we're moving forward. So I don't know. That was just something as we were kind of talking this morning about what we were going to record about and how we were going to go about that stuck in my mind about just taking action and doing stuff and being open to being in a place at the time. We were willing to take a step 5 years ago, and now this is where we are today. So that's what I have to add. Blake?
It's been a really fun journey watching this come to fruition over the last 5 years. So just like the real quick story on mine, I was a early listener of this. I don't know how I actually ended up in the Facebook group early on, but like, I was the target audience, and still am in a lot of ways, for How to Film Weddings early on. So when I first got involved, that was a lot of my role. I was like, oh, this works for me. I can go take this and go do this right now, and this changes my business. And that's been one of my favorite parts about it, is just like seeing, to what Nick said, the really actionable parts of the business that saved me literal years of time. Like, it's crazy to see how fast people are going from 0 to 6 figures in their business, 0 to whatever that goal is in their business, because of the work that you guys have done through all of this. Like, it's been, when we do the film reviews, it blows my mind every time. Like, we'll do the film reviews and somebody will be like, yeah, this is my first film. Like, oh my gosh, like that, it blows my mind how quick people can go from 0 to that. And that's been my favorite part about this, is there's an accelerating factor that we love, where we've done a lot of these things in the last 5 years. You guys have done these things in the last decade plus, where you're saying, this worked for me, this didn't work for me, go do this. And people can be like, okay, cool, that saved me a year of experimenting with that and making mistakes. So it makes things just so much more streamlined for people when they get into the business. And that's my favorite part. It's just watching these people's like first films be like absolute bangers, and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I'm a sentimental guy. I'm always thinking ahead. It's hard for me to be in the moment. And I just saw early on like a little glimpse of what this could be, but I never knew, if you would have let me have 10 minutes in 2023, while, 5 years ago, just like fast forwarded me into the future for 10 minutes to show everything we're doing with How to Film Weddings, I would not believe it, because we couldn't have imagined having nearly, 200 mastermind students have, gone through the program now, and 300 or 400 people through our course, and tens of thousands of monthly listeners, and tens of thousands of subscribers to podcasts or to YouTube channels or Instagram or whatever it is. And I think that like what you said, Nick, really resonated with me of just like, when we started this, we just thought, this is what we're going to do. We're going to tell people what it is that we've done right, what it is we've done wrong. We're just going to offer a ton of free value. And our model has been, if we offer a ton of free value, everything else is going to work out. We don't need every person to buy something from us. We hope that if you're in a position where you don't have funds to join a course or to join our mastermind, that our podcast is there for you for free. Our YouTube channel is there for free. And we wanted to give people opportunities to go deeper with content, with relationship, with community, with us. And quickly into the process, I remember saying to Nick, and we've mentioned this before, it's just like, hey, I want to do this, and I would do this if we didn't get paid. Like, I want to do this. I'm willing to do this for up to 2 years just to build the audience to see what could happen. Are you willing to do that? And we kind of both looked at each other like we were crazy. We talked to our wives, and we just said, this is going to be something we do on the evenings and weekends, at least 3-4 extra hours a day, because we believed in it. We didn't have anything like this. And I think that like when we got going, it was just like, let's just do this. We would record and talk about weddings anyway. Like this is great. Like I love helping people. At that point, I was answering 50 to 75 questions a week in other Facebook groups and people wanting me to do mentor sessions with them. And I was like, this is a great streamlined way to help people. And I just remember thinking, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens if we focus on a lot of free stuff. And then, I think something shifted a couple of years in, when we released our course, I think people started to be like, wait a second, this is wrong of them. This is not like, they don't like, there's just something that happens in some people whenever they feel like the rug got pulled out from under them. And we didn't start How to Film Weddings thinking we're going to put together $1,000 course. We quickly, after 6-8 months, were like, this would be a good idea. And, but we put out the course, and I think some people started thinking, well, they're not doing this because they care. They didn't do any of this because they care. They just do this because they want money. They've been tricking us. And we started to see negativity. And it baffled me, honestly, because it was just like, man, we honestly would do this for free. We want to do more of this. And if we're going to do more of this and help more people, we have to kind of quit our other jobs or make at least the amount of money that our other jobs are making us so that we can spend more time doing this. And it was like, of course, let's do that. And anyway, through the process of the last 3 years, we've gone from releasing a course, having that go out a couple times a year, and then our mastermind group. And we're now able to both Nick and I be full-time How to Film Weddings, Blake part-time, and we're growing because there's revenue coming in so that we don't have to. And so I think that being that guy, I know I've been talking a lot, guys, sorry, but being that guy that's like the heart is, how can we help people? And if where you are, like nothing has changed on the free content that we offer. We've put a free podcast out every week for 300 weeks or whatever it is. We have our free Facebook group that we're in and we're answering questions, and nothing about that has changed, but we've added more time to what we can do. So we've added more services to what we could offer. And I think it was just baffling to me when people would start to throw shade or hate towards us based on, oh, they're just out for the money. They only want the money. And I think about wedding filmmakers, and as you progress as a wedding filmmaker and your skill gets better and you offer more service, don't you want to charge more money to do it and shoot less? And so anyway, I talked a lot. I don't have a great transition out of this, but any thoughts from you guys?
I want to add something to that. I think the LUT that we just released, and please do not take this as we just said we are not trying to, it's not all about making money. Hey, go buy this LUT. That's not what I'm saying. Look in the education space, and it's like the first thing people will do, right? It's like, I have a LUT or I have a preset. It's got to be the most sold piece of educational content out there. I have no data to back that up. We didn't bring a LUT to the world. And we've talked about it for years about doing one, but we didn't bring a LUT to the world until this year, right? So we spent all of these years not doing that because we wanted something that was going to represent a brand in a certain way that was going to help people achieve a certain look. And so we didn't, like, right out of the gate. We very well could have. We have literally have LUTs sitting in files right now that we could have released forever ago, but we wanted to do it right, and we wanted it to be a service to people. And I think that's a good example of, like, this is not all about money. If it was all about money, we'd have dropped a $30 LUT day one and, tried to go crazy with that. But it's not. It's about helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah. John and I have also been very big proponents, and Blake, if you, were on our podcast more, I'm sure you would say the exact same thing, that we don't know everything. And we have what we do know and what we do, and it has worked for us, or what hasn't worked for us. And that has always been at, kind of the core of the heart. We want to elevate the industry, but we also don't want to be people that have it all figured out. And we want to know that. And Blake, as you talk about LUTs, that was something that we did mention early on, but John and I were both like, you know what? I, as Nick, John as John, does not have the technical ability. That's not a strong suit of ours to put something out like that with it. And so even though we wanted to do it and we waited for the right relationships, we waited for the right partners to do it. And we have always, yes, we have had, I was talking about imperfect action a little bit earlier. We have taken steps and we have done stuff, but there were certain things that we held back and we purposefully didn't do because it just wasn't the right time to do it. And so that's a big heart, is us not, like, you watch John's color grading video from this last week, and he said in there, he's like, I'm still learning how to do this. So if you do something different or better or whatever, like, let me know. And that's always the heart that we want to do with all the things that we do, is if you do something, like, we want to have a conversation with people, right? I was actually listening to a podcast this morning, and the guy with it, he said, people comment because conversations are too difficult. And meaning you go online and you say stuff. And so we want to be people that have those conversations and talk and go back and forth, where our minds can be changed, or we can be educated, or we can be enlightened, however you want to say that. So
I have a thought.
Of course you do. What did I say? What do you need to fix?
No, you didn't do anything wrong. I think everything you said was great. I think that one thing that you're, like, a common thing that is in my life for sure, and I think that I've learned it from a young age, is just, like, I've always been, like, super interested in really diligent people that do hard work when no one's watching. And that started with Rocky IV, the movie. And that scene, that montage of Rocky just putting in that work when no one else would.
Bench pressing trees.
Yes, and it changed my life. It really did. And I just saw people in my life be diligent and watch them do the hard work when no one was watching. And, like, that's always been my thing. I was like the captain of the basketball team, not because I was the tallest or the best, or I weighed 135 pounds. So, I wasn't the biggest, but I was there early. I worked out before school. I worked out during the workout, and then afterwards I'd go running, and I would do, like, or whatever. I was always like, I can win at life, not because of my skill, but because of my diligence. And I saw an interview with one of my favorite artists, Ed Sheeran, the other day, and he was talking about how he was doing 3 shows a night while everybody else was doing 1 show a weekend. And he was like, I was just messing up. I just getting those reps in. I think about Kobe Bryant, who is my all-time favorite athlete, and that Mamba mentality, if you will, where he had a quote where he was, I was watching a doc about him, and he was just like, everybody else is in the gym 5 hours a week. I just knew that if I would be in the gym 15 hours, 20 hours a week, I would be 4 times more likely to succeed. I just outworked over time. And we have, like, our goal is to not just work harder, but also be working smarter and more diligent. And, like, I'm just addicted to that. And it was like, of course we're going to do a podcast once a week, of course. But my personality, I've always grown up a people pleaser. And when I first started Redeemed Productions, I remember being 23 and going to, like, vendor meetups and people being like, who's struggling with anything? And I'd be like, quiet. I'm not struggling with anything. Life is perfect for me. I'm great. I know everything. I'm 23, and I rubbed people the wrong way because I was just so confident. I have never lacked confidence ever. And so I was just so confident in myself and couldn't ask questions and couldn't get myself vulnerable and couldn't say I don't know and couldn't say I need help. And over the last 5 years, that's something that's been flexed in me a lot, where it's just like, I was in business for 12 years before I started looking at education and thinking it was an actual thing that could help people. And anyway, like through the process over the last 5 years, I've realized I can't just be a people pleaser. And I think that that's where I'm at with How to Film Weddings, where it's just like, you know what? I've kind of skirted around the edges because I'm worried what maybe some naysayers might say, or people might judge me and not like me. And what I've realized is even doing that and being hypersensitive about making sure people know our heart and making sure people know that we care and that like we're in this for the right reasons and that we don't want to make money unless it's a fair exchange for you, not for us. We want our tickets to Calibrate to be $49 and you get a $500 or $1,000 value from them. That's just the way we are. And I've realized that even doing that, there's still going to be people that do not want us to succeed. And I've gotten to a place where I'm like, I'm done listening to those voices, and I'm going to start reminding myself of Salt and Pine Films when I talked to them the other day, or Blake saying, hey, I'm charging $10K for weddings, or Stanton saying, hey, man, you helped change my business, or Nick saying, oh, my gosh, because I don't have time in my life to be as diligent as I need to be if I am focused on the things that I cannot control. And so my vow currently, 5 years into How to Film Weddings, is to lean harder into what I feel like I was put on this earth to do, unashamedly. Thoughts?
Boom roasted. I love that. And if this kind of segues us into another part of the conversation, so be it. But it's so much of the success that's come from How to Film Weddings has come from the community that we've been able to help cultivate and help grow. And early on in the podcast, you guys always had this saying where you wanted to be facilitators. Like you wanted to be the David Letterman, like just putting other people's talents out on display for the world and showing people what's possible and what's available. And that's always really resonated. And it's what I think has helped to this brand to become really successful is there's a cultivation of a community. And a lot of people talk about it. The community over competition part of our industry has really, really helped it grow. It's been super beneficial. But sometimes we see that start to slip back into that, hustle culture is what I like to call it sometimes. But slip back into that and forgetting about what that community is like and everybody that's there and everybody that it helps. And I think that's been a really great part of this.
Yeah, that's it's a really good point there, Blake. What is the saying? You want to go fast, go by yourself, but you want to go far or deep or whatever, go with people. And
yeah.
We knew from the beginning that we wanted to involve people. John, one thing that he said when it came to wedding education, he was like, I don't want to be, he wanted to be something more like Apple, right? When it has iTunes and you come there and then there's all of this stuff. Like we want to be the hub. Like we want to give educators a voice. We want to give people a platform. We want to help them in doing things. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on is saying, hey, when I don't know information, I'm going to ask someone that does, and I'm going to have them on the podcast so I can learn, because if I have a question 10 or 12 years in about this subject, I guarantee you that the person in year 2 or 3 has the exact same question or a lesser version or something like that. And so we always wanted to have that platform. And then we've also wanted to use our platform as a springboard to help other people that want to get into the education space, want to get into places. We have had people that have courses and have products and have things where they're talking about it on our podcast because we see the value in what they are doing. We are not people that want to monopolize all this stuff and say, nope, it's only for us. Like it's it's a big place, and we want to have that platform so that we can help other people throughout the whole thing. So,
and as we're nearing 300 episodes, which is kind of crazy, and I think our Facebook group passed 16,000 in it a week or so ago, and getting close to 10,000 on Instagram, and like all these numbers and all these people. I think we always get back to like when we're looking in the screen, looking in the camera and talking and doing our podcast, we're just thinking about earlier versions of us or earlier people. It's like, man, what could I say to me 15 years ago? What could I say to somebody out there? We picture you as we're, recording, we're thinking about, oh, there's someone over in Michigan that's watching, and this is the first time that they've seen us. And we always try to bring our best. We always try to give our absolute best. And we know that everything else is going to work out if we do that. And that's our mission and our promise to you as we continue to grow, and we don't know where everything's going. And if I could fast forward 5 more years and take 10 minutes and look into, 2028 or something, I would probably be like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. But one thing that's not going to happen is we are not going to quit. We are not going to feel like we're not legitimate. We're not going to feel like we're not worthy of being here. We're not going to feel like we're not real educators. I am not going to allow any noise like that to enter my spirit. Nick's not going to, Blake's not going to. If you have an issue with How to Film Weddings and what we stand for, there's plenty of other options. And I just recommend finding education that works for you and supporting that. Because the wedding film industry in general, I remember before we started especially, can get really, really snippy and can get really, really hateful very quickly. And we just wanted to be a light. We just wanted to be a voice of positivity, and for people to not feel shamed because they didn't know what gear stuff was, or they weren't super techie, or if they were mentally, overwhelmed, or any of that stuff. Like, we wanted to be a safe place for people, and that's our mission in our heart. And like, whether or not you think, that we're the best at educating or any of that sort of thing, our heart is community, elevating, uplifting people, giving people positivity. And you will never find us being negative. You'll never find us tearing anyone down. You'll never find us doing anything but sharing positivity on this channel. So I can guarantee you that's what we're going to be doing. And Nick and Blake, I know we have lots of ideas. We're updating our course. We're looking at 1-day or multi-day workshops all around the place. We're looking at how we can do more mastermind alumni events or mastermind events. We're putting together retreats and different, there's all kinds of stuff that we are so excited to do. And I think that, like, being, a person of faith, I think that there's an enemy that is trying to get me off track in life in different things. And I've had to come to the realization that I can't listen to noise. I need to stay on mission, and anything worth doing is worth standing up for and fighting for. And that's how we view How to Film Weddings.
I would like to add that we're not going to be negative, and we're not going to talk bad about other people unless it has to do with a thumbnail that you have spent a very long time trying to put together, and that will only be in our private text.
Maybe
thread.
Well, it's out on the internet now. Anybody have any it's out there. Maybe we'll put it on the screen. Blake, maybe you can put it on the screen. A couple options, and people could vote for like which thumbnail they think is the best, and maybe we'll change the thumbnail on that video to that one. But I will say this too before I officially shut up is I love you guys, and I care about you guys, and I will go to battle with you guys, and I love doing this with our team, with you. You guys are my best friends, and I'm so thankful that you're in my life for this season, hopefully for many, many seasons to come. But it's worth it because of who I'm standing next to when we're doing it. So much love to you guys.
Likewise. Back at you. What he said.
Yeah.
Igualmente.
Yeah. That's one thing that I think is one. I get in trouble with this all the time, is my wife is having a moment that's where she's letting some stuff out, or, whatever's going on. And I try to make it better by telling a joke. Because that's what I like to do, and now I feel kind of bad that John just talked for a long time and said some very nice things and what we stand for, and then I cut in with the joke about a thumbnail. I
was mainly aiming my positive comments towards Blake, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. But no, and John always beats me to the punch with these things, with the, I love you guys, I appreciate it, and I love and appreciate you guys. But now it's awkward. It's like he wins in saying it, so now you listening, it's like I'm only saying it because he said it first, and I have to say it back. And so
doesn't make it less true though.
I don't know who gets the better end of that deal, but it is true. I am so grateful for you both. I am grateful for Austin and Jessica who aren't here. I'm grateful for the relationship we've built, like just the doors that have opened because of How to Film Weddings, and the people that we have met and the connections we have made, and just the things that have happened in life because of it. And I am so grateful. And I see you both as lifelong friends, now in my 40s, and it's been great being with you guys. So I'll wrap us up here in a second. But Blake, do you have anything you want to add, or are you good?
He already said likewise.
Oh, he did say likewise. Sorry, Blake is a man of many words.
Yeah, that's the truth. No, this is the same thing for me, guys. Knowing you guys has changed my business. That's why I love How to Film Weddings. It's changed my life, not because people are buying LUTs, but because of the education that I've received from doing this. I remember us making the course. That we should have just filmed behind the scenes on that and really said it was such a fun time. We locked ourselves in an Airbnb for a week and just filmed all day, every day. Took breaks for Chick-fil-A and ping pong, but I remember sitting on the couch, like just off screen with the computer and be like, oh, this is good. Like I was like updating my website as we were making the course. Like I gotta go change this. This is great. And it's been so valuable, and in your friendships. And I don't know how anyone does this without community. It would be so lonely to not have realizations about our industry and be able to share them with people like you guys. And so I'm truly grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for being a part, John. It's always great to do this with you, and I appreciate so much for all of the things that you do. Listeners, we are wrapping up our episode today, and I just want to make a plug for our Facebook group. Right now, it's just the How to Film Weddings group on Facebook, and go and be a part of the community and jump in there and be a part of the conversation and add something positive and help others. John, it is great to do this with you. Blake, it is cool and good to do this with you and have you on screen and be a part of the podcast. Blake is the editor, is his name, and so he's behind the screens a whole lot.
Just land the plane.
Okay, we're done. See you guys next week. Bye.